Hannytime, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Good afternoon. I'm Charles Hannegriff along with Mario Jerez and Jacob Beck. Thank you for being with us here today. About 15 minutes, we're going to go to Hoover. Doug Thompson, former LSU pitcher, of course, on the call. The LSU Sports Radio Network is there. LSU will be playing this afternoon at about 4:30 against Arkansas, who won in extra innings yesterday in walk-off fashion. So with one day in the books at the SEC tournament for LSU and 2 days in the books overall, where are we as far as what's next for LSU? Well, obviously their top 8 national seed is locked in, has been for some time, and right now a pretty good guess, this is what the D1 guys have, is that they're going to be the number 4 national seed. And that feels about right behind Florida and Arkansas, who they finished behind in the SEC, and Wake Forest, who is the pretty much undisputed number 1 right now. What has changed in the last 24 hours, 48 hours is that you're seeing now some of the teams in the teens in the RPIs now look like they are shoring up their opportunity to host. For instance, Alabama on Tuesday beat a top 5 RPI team in Kentucky, and Auburn won their game against a Missouri team that's not very good, but they won anyway. And then yesterday, both of those teams lost close games to top 5 RPIs or top 8 RPIs in Florida and Vanderbilt. So they've done some good things here in the tournament, and it looks like they put themselves in position to host. Who would have thought a month ago that either Alabama or Auburn would host? But right this second, it looks like they're in pretty good shape. Now they're going to play here in probably about 40 minutes. Texas A&M is putting the finishing touches on a shutout of South Carolina. It's 5-0 in the top of the top of the ninth inning, and there are now 2 outs. So they're 1 out away from advancing. Texas A&M has, I think, played themselves into the NCAA tournament. A win on Tuesday against Tennessee, and then yesterday the heartbreaking loss to Arkansas was a top 5 RPI. You add this to a top 8 RPI in South Carolina. Texas A&M, who I didn't think could afford to come to this tournament and go one and done, I think has given themselves a little bit of breathing room. Tennessee and Kentucky, who were Tuesday losers, are still considered to be host sites by D1. Kentucky has got the lopsided resume, the very good RPI, the not as good conference record. Tennessee also, has themselves in a position where they could be a host site. It's close. They will probably end up being a 2 seed. But we'll see. What all of this says is that you're going to see potentially record-breaking numbers from the Southeastern Conference when these brackets are announced on Monday. Right now, D1 projects 4 top 8 national seeds, which has been the case for a long time, but 4 more host sites. Now, did South Carolina knock themselves out with this loss to Texas A&M? We'll see. Kentucky's RPI holds up really well. They get in at maybe number 12. Does the loser of Alabama and Auburn, who are projected at 10 and 11 right now, do they slide down or do they slide all the way out? How this affects LSU is, or some other team in the Southeastern Conference, is they go to great lengths not to pair up number 1 seeds from the same conference. But there's so many of them that even D1 now is projecting that there might be a couple. For instance, Vanderbilt and Auburn are paired up as a 7 and a 10 in their projections. The winner of Florida and South Carolina are projected as well at 2 and 15. So if you want a team that matches up with LSU, if LSU is the national number 4 seed, you got a lot of Southeastern Conference teams that are piled up there. South Carolina, Kentucky, Alabama, Auburn, all of them could slide into that number 13 spot to go against LSU at number 4. But if you want somebody from out of the conference, D1's projection makes a lot of sense in the Miami Hurricanes, who are, I would say, safely in as a host site. You could luck up, and I say luck up. I sort of put that out of my vocabulary after Stony Brook, but Boston College is the 14, and you would figure that, well, it's hotter here in June than it is in Chestnut Hill. And, well, I've seen teams from the north come here and basically bake in the heat, and it's no doubt an advantage for LSU. But mostly what I'm hoping for the Tigers' sake is that they are not paired up with another Southeastern Conference team. They could also be tied into a regional on the other side that has a very powerful number 2 seed. For instance, they've got Tennessee projected right now as a number 2 at number 16 right now, Indiana State. If the committee decides that they don't like Indiana State's overall record despite their high RPI, well, then you're talking about potentially another SEC team getting in there. But if Tennessee gets in as a 2 seed, say to somewhere else like Miami, Tennessee could win that. Okay, Texas A&M could very easily win a regional. So and A&M has just eliminated South Carolina 5-0. You got to play somebody, but you would certainly rather not play a team from the SEC in the Super Regional if you can help it. They've certainly done it before. The most recent one was when they played against Mississippi State back in 2017 on their last trip to Omaha. So that's where we are. One other note: the Sun Belt is looking at 3 bids right now, but that could be 4. UL Lafayette got a very nice win against Texas State late last night. They play Coastal Carolina, who's a 9 RPI tonight. If the Cajuns win that game, I think they're going to be on the right side of the bubble. Their RPI is a little bit high at 61, but this would be a couple of nice wins. Texas State has an RPI in the, let's see where all my numbers are. Their RPI is in the 30s, I believe. Yeah, something like that. So that was a good win for 55, not 35, 55. My eyes. All right, the game yesterday for LSU. Very nice performance by Thatcher Hurd. Very nice performance by Nate Ackenhausen. A very balanced offensive approach yesterday. I think probably the most important thing was that Thatcher Hurd came back and pitched really well again, and he gives Jay Johnson a lot of options on what to do with him going into the regionals next week. This was Jay Johnson on Thatcher Hurd's outing yesterday in Hoover.
Yeah, it was awesome, and really that's like 7 or 8 out of 9 appearances that have been really, really good. He's a winner and has great stuff. He'll pitch in the major leagues someday, and guys develop at different times, and he's really developed a lot this year, and pitching with a lot of confidence and poise, and when he's on his game, we're going to win, and that was today.
No problem whatsoever sending that guy out next Friday if they choose to do that. That would be, in fact, at this point, if you get a 4 seed that you feel like you can beat with somebody else, I might even hold Thatcher Hurd. Now let's get into today's game that Paul Skeens is going to pitch against Arkansas. And Arkansas is going to send out Hagen Smith, their phenomenal lefty. These two squared off in Baton Rouge back at the end of March. That was the wild game that went to extra innings when Arkansas scored 8 in the top of the 10th, ruining the underplay for some people. I don't know. Paul Skeens went 7 innings in that game against Arkansas, allowed 2 hits and 3 walks and 1 run. He struck out 12. Hagen Smith came on in relief. They've used him both as a starter and as a reliever. It's about 50-50. The reports from Sports Illustrated was that he is going to start this afternoon. He went 4 2/3 innings. LSU got to him pretty good. They got 5 hits and 3 runs, and they also coaxed 3 walks out of him. He did strike out 8. This is a terrific game. It's a terrific matchup. How long either one of these two pitchers goes, I can't be sure. But I can tell you that I have no problem running Paul Skeens out there for a full trip today. I've heard, keep him on a very low pitch count. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think I'm not going to run his pitch count up, to 120 or anything like that. But I don't see anything wrong with Paul Skeens going out and throwing somewhere around 90 pitches today. and hopefully that gets them somewhere in the vicinity of the 6th or 7th inning. The reason is that Paul Skeens is not going to pitch again until a week from Saturday. He's going to have 9 days off. He's not going to pitch again in this tournament, no matter how far he goes today. Every start this season has been at least 6 innings, except for the rain-shortened one at South Carolina. They even threw Paul Skeens, and I thought this was a little bit risky at the time. They threw Paul Skeens 98 pitches on opening night, which is a very high pitch count for that time of year. The weather's cooler. You're going out there for the first start. Ordinarily, the pitch count stays somewhere around 80 for that. They ran him up to 98, and he was never the worst for wear. So he's not going to be on short rest. In fact, I don't want to sit him out, okay? I don't want to break his routine. This is what's been going on since February. He shows up every 7 days, and he throws about 105 to 115 pitches. He strikes out 12 to 15 guys, and LSU almost always wins. I'm not gonna disrupt that in any way. He's not a high maintenance guy. He is a very compact, very fluid delivery. He's not somebody who goes out there and labors. He's not a monster effort guy to get that velocity up there. It comes very natural to him. I see no problem with running him out there for somewhere around 85 to 90 pitches today. I don't think that compromises him one bit the rest of the way. He's going to pitch once in this tournament, so go ahead and use him with 9 days left to run him out there. What Arkansas feels about Hagen Smith, we'll have to wait and see what Dave Van Horn wants to do there. All right, so the tournament continues here in about 30 minutes with Alabama and Auburn. Got to think that the winner there is locked up a host site. They may both get it anyway. And then the late game tonight is Florida and Vanderbilt. That has a lot of similarities to LSU and Arkansas in that, well, you've already got a top 8 national seed locked in. It would be nice to win, but if you don't, not the end of the world. And that's the way it is for LSU and Arkansas as well. Before we get out of the first segment and we go to Hoover, there's news for LSU basketball, and that is a transfer from Kentucky. Forward Damian Collins, who's been in the transfer portal since the end of April, a 6'9" forward, has committed to LSU. This is one of 4 players that has transferred out of the Wildcats program. 2 years ago, Collins was a McDonald's All-American. He was a 5-star prospect, and he went down in the trip to the Bahamas there off season. You can do that every 4 years. Went down and had a very, very good performance down there. He averaged double-digit points. He shot 60% from the floor, and he was set up for what was going to be, they thought, a very, very big season for him. But at the beginning of November, Collins unexpectedly lost his father. His father had moved to Lexington so he could watch his son play more often. They had a workout during the day together, and he called his wife from his apartment later that night, and then they found him, and he had passed away. Collins took it, obviously was devastated, lost a lot of weight, and really was not much of a factor for Kentucky the rest of the way. He averaged 2 points and 2 rebounds in about 8 minutes a game. But again, the young man lost his father unexpectedly, and obviously that was a devastating thing for him. And you can understand, John Calipari had nothing but nice things to say about him. You can understand Damian Collins wanting a change of scenery. Is LSU going to get what was the Gatorade Texas Player of the Year from 2 years ago? He averaged 35 points, 14.5 rebounds, 7 assists, and 6 blocks as a senior in high school. He was ranked as the number 16 overall prospect and the number 4 power forward going into that year, the 2021 recruiting cycle, and he picked Kentucky over Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, and Texas Tech. So we're talking about a young man that has enormous potential and had a tragedy in his life that sidetracked him. He is going to be an LSU Tiger. This is a very, very strong addition potentially for Matt McMahon and the LSU basketball program. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll go to Hoover. We'll talk to Doug Thompson. He'll be on the call this afternoon when LSU takes on Arkansas. This is Hannytime, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hannytime.
Infinity of Baton Rouge. Right now, they'll buy your vehicle for cash, and it takes less than 15 minutes to get a quote on what your vehicle is worth. You can sell it for cash. You can trade it in on a new vehicle. There's no pressure to buy. You can take the information and walk with it for free. But if you do get into the certified pre-owned program, which I can't recommend enough because we've been in it for many, many years at my house, including vehicles that we just purchased within the last several months. That first year of prepaid maintenance after the vehicle goes through a rigorous inspection to get it back up to code, the 100,000-mile powertrain warranty, the complimentary roadside assistance, the courtesy vehicle when you do bring your vehicle in to be serviced. All of these things part of the package at Acura and Infinity of Baton Rouge. So go find the make and model that you want, your mileage total that you're comfortable with, and of course, transparency and pricing is the most important thing. On Airline Highway, Acura and Infinity of Baton Rouge.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey, it's Matt Musso. Join me Monday through Friday for your daily update on LSU baseball with Musso at the Box, presented by New Orleans Flooring, wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, Google, and check out New Orleans Flooring. 2 locations, Metairie and Prairieville, or NOLAFlooring.com.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal.
For live play-by-play of the SEC baseball tournament, starting with the quarterfinals Friday night at 6, then the semifinals Saturday at noon, and the championship game Sunday afternoon at 2, right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hannytime with Charles Hannegriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Some late games last night, but by and large, the weather has cooperated for the most part. There was a rain delay. Can't get through a whole day without a rain delay, right? But by and large, it's been pretty good, I would guess, from Hoover. Again, Texas A&M wins the first game 5-0 against South Carolina. Auburn and Alabama next before LSU and Alabama, and then Vandy and Florida. Let's go up to Hoover right now and check in with Doug Thompson. He'll be on the call this afternoon, LSU Sports Radio Network. Doug, how you doing?
Hey, guys. How are you?
Fantastic. I wanted your thoughts on Thatcher Hurd yesterday. Obviously had a big outing and looked fantastic doing it. What did you see out of Thatcher Hurd?
Well, I mean, he was as good as he could be through that first 4 innings. And what I recognized yesterday was that when he fell behind in the count, he immediately got back to even with a strike. And the couple times that he did go to 3-0, he actually was able to climb the ladder and get a big strikeout. So he was throwing strikes, and that was a big outing for him. And I thought maybe even a bigger outing for Ackenhausen, the way that he came in and shut him down the last 3 2/3.
Doug, it looked like his fastball, he had better fastball command. Yeah, actually both of them, but especially Hurd. It looked like he had much better fastball command yesterday, and you saw a lot of fastballs.
Yep, he got ahead. Like I said, he got ahead for the most part. When he fell behind 1-0, he threw the next pitch for a strike. His fastball had some pop on it. 95, 96. He got up to 97 there in the first inning. So he was feeling really good. He looked great. But again, Charlie, we've talked about this. Okay, so we find this third starter in Thatcher Hurd. It looks like we got Ty Floyd pitching well, and of course Paul Steeds, maybe the greatest ever, or one of the best college seasons we've ever seen. But after that, it's a concern for me. The big deal last night was, for me, was Nate Ackenhausen, a guy from the bullpen coming in and actually getting the job done. That's what we're going to need to see if the Tigers are going to make a run to Omaha.
The at-bat that got Hurd out of the game, I still took as a positive. Ethan Petrie is one of the top freshmen in the country. He's homered 3 times against LSU in 3 games this year. And, his pitch count was up, Doug, but I thought he battled. It was a 10-pitch at-bat. He eventually lost him, but I'm just thinking to myself that a month ago Thatcher Hurd gives up a hit there, or he walks him on 5, maybe 6 pitches. I thought he really battled through the fatigue. That's the kind of thing that Jay Johnson needs to know going into a regional is, how deep can I go into a game with this guy?
Exactly. And, I don't know if I said it on air or I said it to Bill after in between innings, but I was almost pleased with the way that at-bat ended, because a walk with the bases loaded, of course, that's not what you want, but the Petrie kid can really swing it. And just a walk there might have actually saved the game, because a big hit right there might have changed the momentum for good into that South Carolina dugout. So, yeah, I thought it was a good outing for him overall. Of course, at that 5th inning, or he could have gotten through that 5th or the 6th inning unscored on it, would have been an outstanding outing. But all in all, I thought it was a great start and such a great time, in such a time that we need a good start like that.
And for Ackenhausen, he gets him out of a bases loaded jam there. I'll be honest with you, I thought he might have got a call on the second out. The pitch might have been a little bit up, but you'll take it. And then he gets a comebacker to the mound. So that's as pressure a situation as you can be in. He hasn't pitched a lot in the second half of the season, but boy, what an addition if they could count on him in a regional or super.
Yeah, you need, you'll know this. I don't know if many of our listeners will remember 25 years ago, but you need the Dot Demouy combo, the Brian Doherty, Chris Demouy combo out of the bullpen like we had in 1997. They were guys that not necessarily would come in and overpower you with anything, but they pounded the strike zone. They both had 2 pitches, fastball and a curveball, that they could throw in there for a strike whenever they wanted to. And really, without those guys, I don't think there's any way that team is dominant, in 1997 as it was, has a chance to win in Omaha. So we need those guys. We need the Ackenhausens. Gavin Guidry was loosened up at the end of the game yesterday. I like Blake Money, the way that he's pitched. But we really need that bullpen to come alive if we're really going to make a run, because unfortunately, Skeens, Hurd, and Ty Floyd very likely won't be in there in the ninth inning when it's a one-run game.
Those two guys you mentioned, Doherty and Demouy, the other thing I remember about them, Doug, was they were comfortable whether they were asked to start or come out of the bullpen, and I'm starting to feel that way now about Thatcher Hurd. The last two times we've seen him pitch, we've gotten a 100-pitch start, but the time before that, 5 innings, including into extra innings, to help them win a game at Georgia. So going into next week, do you prefer Thatcher Hurd as a starter, or would you rather have him come out of the bullpen?
Well, it depends on the matchups and how I think the pitch will line up. I'll give you the example. In 1998, I started pretty much every appearance I had. We get to Omaha, and the way that it lined up, Coach Bertman decided to start Kiesler and Jake Estevez, Randy Kiesler and Jake Estevez. But going into those first 2 games, I was told, and I knew that if the game was tied or up 1 or down 1, so within a run or tied in the 6th inning, I was going in the game. Like I don't need to be told to warm up, that you're starting the 7th if after the 6th inning that's the score. And that's exactly what happened. So I think it's a matchup thing, and I think you plan it accordingly based on that. But it's such a great thing to see that he's able to do both. I mean, there's the only thing that's different between starting and relieving is your routine and how you get ready. When you start, you get to long toss. You get a little break between when you throw. You get a little bit more visualization. You know who you're facing the first 3 batters. And in the relief, you're going to get thrown into a fire. You might be in the windup. You might be in the stretch. And not everybody can do it, but I agree with you. Thatcher Hurd has shown that he can.
All right, Paul Skeens today, I've heard it suggested that he needs to be on some kind of a pitch count. Doug, he's not going to pitch again for another 9 days by, any, expectations that I've got. I can't imagine he's going to pitch anytime before the marble game of the regional or game 2 of the regional. So what would you expect out of Paul Skeens today as far as usage?
Well, I think it'll be a pitch count thing, and they'll probably let him get close to 85, 90, 100 pitches or whatever. Whatever he feels comfortable with. If he's out there coasting, I think you've got to make it as close to a normal routine start as you can for him. Knowing that, hearing what you just said, I guess I hadn't done that math yet, and I don't know that I would want him sitting 9 days, so I guess I would even think about holding him out today and maybe starting him in the game either tomorrow or Saturday. Knowing that he'd have that much rest. But right now he's on 7 days rest. He's been on 7 days rest all year. He's, again, having one of the best seasons that we've ever seen in college baseball. So, the least amount of things they can do to change his routine and the rhythm that he's on would be the another option to consider. So look for 95 to 105 pitches today. This is you asking me. I have no information, so this is totally, my opinion.
Well, and I want your opinion because you've seen him pitch enough times, and 105 was exactly the number of pitches that he threw in the first game against Arkansas when he only gave up 1 run.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Unfortunately, that game got into extra innings and got away from LSU a little bit in the bullpen. But they also saw Hagen Smith that day, who is, as far as the reports I've seen, scheduled to get the start for Arkansas today. And LSU, I thought, got to him a little bit. He's been a fantastic pitcher. He's by far got the best numbers on the Arkansas staff. But I thought the last time LSU saw him, they got to him pretty good. I don't know I don't remember if you were doing that game or not.
I thought that he had a bunch of strikeouts.
He had 8 strikeouts in 5 innings. Yeah, he did. But he also gave up 3 runs. So.
But they won that Friday night game, right?
They lost. Remember that was the game that got moved up to the afternoon because they thought it was going to rain that night.
Right.
And Skeens was fantastic through 7, and they started Hunter Holen. He was fantastic, and the game went to the 9th inning, tied at 1, and nobody scored. And they went to the 10th, and LSU was in the bullpen by that time, and the bullpen got blown up, and Arkansas scored 8 in the top of the 10th.
No, that's what I mean. Arkansas won that game.
Oh, yeah. Arkansas did. Yes, they did. Yeah.
Hey, look, the bottom line is Hagen Smith's one of the better arms in the SEC. It's going to be a great matchup tonight with Paul Skeens on the mound. I expect it to be electric there at 4:30. It's beautiful weather here, not a blistering hot like in years past. The temperatures are anywhere between 70 and 80. So it should be a nice night at Hoover Met. The Tigers are traveling great as per the usual. Lots of purple and gold out there. So that was great to see.
Outside of LSU, who's impressed you the most? Who do you look at besides the Tigers and go, you know what, not going to be a surprise if they're deep into the run in Omaha?
Arkansas and Florida. I think both of those teams have a lot of things going for them, lots of offense. They have some big arms. And this Arkansas group, they're a pretty close-knit group. They have a very close team, and that could matter too. So those are the other two at this point in the season I would say watch out for in the SEC, Arkansas and Florida.
All right, Doug, have a good call. You guys have a safe trip back whenever that is, and we'll talk to you next week when getting ready for the regional.
Okay, Charlie. Thanks, man.
Thanks a lot. Doug Thompson with the LSU Sports Radio Network. Doug is also is involved in a foundation for Louisiana firefighters. Louisiana Firefighters Association is aiming to create a safer community. They're offering training courses to current Louisiana firefighters and first responders, free training and consulting services for community business owners, teachers, administrators. They offer a variety of courses and consulting services that'll better prepare them for the unexpected and ultimately create a safer Louisiana. We're going to be telling you more about the Louisiana Firefighters Foundation in the coming days and weeks. But Doug with that foundation, and they're doing a great job. I'm excited to be able to help out with the Louisiana Firefighters Foundation. We'll take a break. First class, second class, no class. When we return, this is Hannytime, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hannytime.
Big Mike's has got the game this afternoon with happy hour starting at 3 o'clock. So you want to get out and pregame before the anticipated 4:30 start. Over 40 TVs at Big Mike's. The happy hour drink prices go all the way until 7. So head on over to Big Mike's for the game. Also, by the way, the happy hour drink specials, $2.25 domestic bottles and drafts, $3 Wells, $4 wine until 7 o'clock tonight, starting at 3, and all day on Sunday, starting at 11 a.m. Live music this weekend from Eric Stelly on Friday, from Jared Kelly on Saturday. You always get live music every weekend at Big Mike's. Your special events, catering off-site, or events in the building. We've got multiple size party rooms that you can have for your private get-togethers. In Denham Springs on Aspen Boulevard, Big Mike's. We're kind of a big deal.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 22 Ram 1500 SCA trucks and incredible deals on all remaining 2022 inventory, all with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
We're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play. with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hannigrove joined me and Jimmy out for our new show, Live at Lunch, starting 11 a.m. on Memorial Day.
Can't shake this guy. Live at lunch, 11 to 1.
This is Hannytime with Charles Hannigrove on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Hannytime. First class.
I want a seat in first class where I was booked and ticketed over a month ago.
Second class.
That no man should be subjected to the indignity of being labeled or treated like a second-class citizen.
And no class.
My life had become like school on Sunday. No class.
I'll tell you what then. Why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
First class, second class, no class. Brought to you by Supreme Rice. Buy local with Louisiana-based Supreme Rice since 1936.
And we go to first class, second class, no class. First class, if you watched the PGA Championship this weekend, it was almost like there were two winners. Okay, Brooks Koepka played amazing golf and won his 5th major, and he's great. And I think we put to bed any kind of inkling that the very, very top players on the LIV Tour can still compete at a very high level. Now, the bottom of the LIV roster probably not, but then that's kind of true of the PGA Tour as well. Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, Patrick Reed, Bryson DeChambeau, all of these guys. Even Phil Mickelson, was up there at the Masters, even at the age of 52. So all of that was fine. But Michael Block stole the show. The club pro from California was one of 20 qualifiers, and you've got to jump through an enormous amount of hoops to get in as a qualifier. And to even finish, to even make the cut is a heck of an accomplishment if you're one of those qualifiers. But to get in and be in contention going in to Sunday, well, it's something that we haven't seen in, closing in on 40 years. This story resonated with people because Michael Block is every man. We all know somebody like Michael Block, somebody who loves golf, who's really, really good at golf, who makes their living teaching and playing golf, but is not quite good enough to be a full-time golfer on the PGA Tour. And those guys love golf. And every one of them, I guarantee you, thinks, you know what? On my best day, I could play with these guys for 4 rounds. I might not be able to play 20 tournaments against guys like Justin Thomas and Scotty Scheffler and John Rahm. But give me my best 4 days. Give me the best 4 days on the course, and I can play with them for one weekend. Except that almost nobody gets that chance. I mean, 20 guys get that chance once a year in the PGA Championship, and, you get some guys get into qualifiers and other tournaments, but you almost never play. First of all, you don't get that chance, and if you do get that chance, the chances of you playing your 4 best days of golf when it matters the most, when the most pressure is on, when the mental gymnastics of trying to stay in that thing, when everybody's watching, for him to stay within what he could do on the golf course was fun to watch. And if you watched the interviews with him afterwards, the self-deprecating humor, he was humble. I mean, you couldn't help but root for the guy. Well, he finished 15th. By now, you know that. He gets to go back to the PGA Championship next year. And he is at the Schwab this weekend. He tees off here in about 45 minutes. So Michael Block, I thought, This is why we love sports. We like a good Cinderella story, and when the guy seems like a good guy and he's put all of this effort into it and he gets there, then I can't help but root for him. So first class to Michael Block. Second class is good with a chance to be great. This story is about a week and a half old, but I didn't get a chance to do it last week, so I did want to talk about Logan Diggs, a running back from Notre Dame, formerly from Archbishop Rummel back in 2021, has joined LSU. Probably the most in flux position, I would say, on the LSU team right now is probably running back. I can't, with a great degree of certainty, tell you who I think is going to lead LSU in rushing this year, who's going to lead them in attempts this year. There's a lot. It's a full room. Okay, and it got bolstered even more with Diggs, but I don't know for sure right now who the best guy is. I don't know how healthy at least a couple of these guys are. So adding Logan Diggs, who accumulated 821 yards and 4 touchdowns at Notre Dame last season, had a nice game in the bowl game against South Carolina. This just helps. It gives you a lot of options. Since we're in baseball season, think about it as having maybe no dominant closer in the bullpen, but a lot of guys who can get the job done, and maybe they piece this thing together. So for Diggs, this is good with a chance to be great. Maybe he will be, that guy that emerges and ends up leading the team in rushing. Maybe he'll just be a very important, third down back. Maybe he'll end up catching a lot of balls. Whatever it is, it's a very nice add for Brian Kelly at this point in the recruiting calendar, and it's at a position where LSU's got a lot of guys, but I'm not certain who is the best. No class. I saw something this morning that I could not believe. You ever get caught by a parody account?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. You get a parody account that's something that looks official. It's got a logo on it. From a legitimate corporation, a conference, a journalist, whatever. You're just like, hey, that's good. And then it's some outrageous story, and you go, wait a minute, hang on. They misspelled something in the tag or whatever, and you're like, that's not really that account. It's a parody account. So sometimes, if it's an outrageous story, I'm always sure to look close. I thought for sure this morning that somebody had hacked the Southeastern Conference's account, or that somebody had put a really good parody account together. Southeastern Conference, who has over 700,000 followers on Twitter, actually had somebody last night track during the Auburn-Vanderbilt game the number of sets of whistles from that imbecile at Vanderbilt, okay, who should be banned from every ballpark for eternity or longer, okay? Somebody from the Southeastern Conference, they have a picture of the scorebook, said that there were 327 sets of whistles. They've got it marked down like in a scorebook, like you would score a game. I thought to myself, there's no way the SEC is promoting this dummy. There's no way that the Southeastern Conference is going to encourage this kind of behavior. Why they haven't done in Hoover, or for that matter in Nashville, what they did in Omaha, which was go over there and tell him, cool it, I have no idea. This has been going on for years. This guy's a menace. He should be thrown out on sight from any of these games. I call the Southeastern Conference. It was about 5 years ago, and I'm like, really? You guys are going to let this go on? And the response I got was, we don't discourage anybody from going to cheer. He's not breaking any rules. No, but he's obviously there to call attention to himself and to annoy everybody around him. And spare me he's getting under the skin of the other team. It don't make them play any worse, okay? Stop with that. These guys hear that stuff all the time. I can't imagine that Tim Corbin, who has to sit through 60-plus games a year with this idiot behind him, can't want him banned for life. But obviously he doesn't, because nothing has happened up there. So it's bad enough that they let him in the park, okay? But now you're actually encouraging this. You're promoting this. You're putting this on the official website of the Southeastern Conference that you're counting the number of times this guy whistles. I really want to do to him what the Saints did back in the early 80s. I think I've told this story before, but they were down in Vero Beach. The Saints used to train in Dodgertown in the early 80s. And there was some poor young trainer, probably 20, 21 years old, who probably weighed about 150 pounds, whose job it was when they slept in these are like kind of dormitories, if you will, in Dodgertown, whose job it was every morning at 6 o'clock to go to the front of the barracks, dormitory, whatever you want to call it, and blow the air horn to wake everybody up. Everybody hates that guy, right? This is the guy that tells me I got to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and, well, he's doing it with this loud, obnoxious air horn. So the last day of camp, some of the Saints took him and taped him to the goalpost. And they took the air horn and they hung it around his neck. And they put on the air horn a sign that said, "Blow me." And everybody came along and blew the air horn right in this guy's ear. That's what I wish they would do to this guy, is somebody come behind him with an air horn, which I know are banned at the ballparks and should be. But I wish somebody would come up behind him, preferably like a 250-pound MMA fighter with no patience and a bad attitude and an air horn right behind him. And every time he puckers his lips up, just put that air horn right in his ear. That's what he deserves, not promotion from the Southeastern Conference. I can't believe they're actually encouraging this imbecile. So no class. Take a break. We'll come back here and wrap things up. Hannytime, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime. Come home, live Baton Rouge. I'm ready, what you put me on through. Gotta send my love down to
Hey there, little buddy. What's the matter?
What's the matter? My windows, siding, and my door. That's what's the matter.
Relief Windows can fix all of that. I got you. Pop, pop. What's up?
Oh my gosh, look!
Curb appeal. That's a good-looking neighborhood. ReliefWindows.com.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
on Fridays, OTB. We'll recap LSU, Arkansas, as well as all of the Hoover Day 3 action. Also, Rivers Huey stops by in the final hour. Off the bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
This is Hannytime with Charles Hanagriff on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Take some questions in the Bayou Ford chat. A few people asked if I'm going to get on the Whistler, do I need to get on, I believe his name is Sanchez, D'Angelo Sanchez, the super fan for LSU softball. And honestly, I have not been out to a ton of softball games, but I've seen him on TV. I've seen him at the park at times. Here's my, and I don't think he needs to be climbing the net. Somebody from security he was climbing the net. Okay. At that point, you're not being a fan, you're being a nuisance. And somebody needs to go tell him, hey, listen, you can't climb the net behind home plate, okay? You can't, we would prefer you not stand up and scream in people's ears, okay? Root for your team, all right? There's a line between going there and really being actively, vigorously supportive of your team and wanting to make a spectacle of yourself, and you're just being a jerk, okay? And sometimes that line gets crossed, all right? Again, I don't go out to a ton of softball games. I'm aware of the situation. I saw him climbing the net the other day. And no, somebody should have went down there and said, listen, if you climb the net again, we're gonna have to escort you out of the stadium. There's your seat. You can stand up and clap, cheer, do all that stuff. You're not allowed to take away from anybody else's enjoyment of the game. That goes for the Whistler. That goes for him. That goes for anybody. I mean, you've been. I've been in 100 stadiums. Okay, sat next to some really nice people. When I had Saints season tickets, made friends with the people on the side of those. And I've sat next to some real jerks. Okay, and I'm sure everybody else out there has been. It just takes away from your experience. So if you're doing something that takes away from somebody else's, then yeah, you're out of line, my opinion. Not really sure I get that one. I don't know anything about Garth, so I'm missing on that one. Let's see. What was the other thing? Okay, the YouTube deal. Yes, we are going on location starting on Monday for Live at Lunch. Jimmy and I will be doing 11 to 1. And for the moment, no, there's not going to be a YouTube component. I've explained this in the chat. I'll explain it again. This is not my fault. This is not Matt's fault. This is just what it is, okay? There's an engineering component that has to happen for YouTube on site, and right now it's not available to us. So I'm sorry. There will be a video component to it, and we understand that this is an important thing, and we want to work towards it. Right now, it's not possible. Bear with us. This doesn't have anything to do with me not wanting to interact or anything like that. This is purely an engineering issue, and I'm sorry, but I'm not an engineer, so that's as honest as I can be, okay? And I'm sorry. I like actually, interacting here. Mario, you're in there. You're in there as well. Yep. So, what can I say? Your voices have been heard, and I'll do what I can. Let's see. Scores we got that's important this afternoon. Alabama's gotten on the board 1-0 against Auburn. North Carolina and Virginia go at 2:00 today. Virginia is probably the last of the national seeds. If they were to lose, that might come into play here. Coastal Carolina is right there at number 9 or so. If they won the Sun Belt tournament, which the Sun Belt is the fourth best conference, and they're going to get multiple bids in. If they win that conference and one or two of the ACC or even Vanderbilt were to drop down, it's possible they could sneak in there as a number 8. So we're watching that one. Watch NC State and Miami. Miami could that's in the ACC tournament. That's a 6:00 game. Miami could very easily be a participant here in Baton Rouge at some point in the next couple of weeks. Thanks to everybody for participating. From Mario and Jake, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
turn my music high, 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 high. Yeah.
You don't know what you're doing.
Sure I do. I'm from the streets where the hood can swallow on me. Bullets will follow on me. There's so much that you could run the slalom. And cops comb this top to bottom. They say that we are prone to violence, but it's home sweet home. With personalities clashing, chrome meets chrome. Prices up and down like it's Wall Street.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's that time again. It's heating up. Your boat's getting ready to come out and spend all summer on the water. It's time to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service, where if you want an incredible custom speaker install, it's going to blow people away in the water, that's there for you. You want an HD sonar where you can see the fish under the water before you cast, beat all your friends, that's there for you at front-to-back boat service. So don't put it off. We got the parts in right now. Get them now before they go back on back order. Front-to-back boat service.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset.